If you click any of these book now links, they'll actually take you to our official listing on the marketplace here. It's currently closed, so you can't click anything or select any booking slots, but this will turn on and activate once you're ready to start taking orders, and you can come in, click a date, pick a time slot, add the booking, done. You get sent a Google Meet notification, you show up at the right time, and we come prepared with your form, and we go. She blinded me with science.
Got me.
And you froze. That was perfect.
Something.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Laser Source Podcast. Tonight, will Laser Everything offer coaching? Spoilers. Yes, we will. Also, we're here to answer your questions. We haven't done just like a Q&A in a while. We've been talking about the marketplace for a long time. And do not get me wrong, we will be talking about the marketplace again at some point tonight, but I want to make sure we take some time to answer your questions as well. So we are here with the normal crew, Mr. Bodiford himself,
Hello.
Joining us from Florida. And Boyce is here from, I'm not sure if it's worse or not, Michigan. And Kyle from the respectable state of Connecticut.
I mean, kind of.
Welcome, gentlemen. And here we are. I'm assuming one of you is doing your job and starring questions because I've seen a couple already, yeah?
Yeah.
Tonight's episode, by the way, is brought to you by long-lost sponsor, Coca-Cola, made for polar bears by polar bears. What the fuck is poopy? Why are you drinking poopy?
Poppy. Shit stain.
Is that what it tastes like?
Mountain Dew I have this much Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain
Canada
Dew.
Dry. Canada Dry brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Canada Dry, also brought to you by polar bears.
If you're real Canadian, it's Les Deux Les Montagnais.
Ugh,
I don't
yikes.
know if that's real, but it sounds
Andrew sent me this, right? Andrew, shout out to Andrew. Andrew, look at this sick hat Andrew Farmer made me.
cool. Ooh.
Just for me. Yeah, it's taking the place of my... Look at the Laser Everything one is like rough. Yeah, I mean, I love this hat and I keep wearing it, but
It's well loved.
it's nice to have something. I'm getting you see the curve going on? I give it the bendies when I'm stressed out. Give it the flex. So I'm getting that. I'm working on that. But
Here, Andrew sent me a hat too.
We need those for light. What? LBX.
Yeah.
yeah, that's sad. He sent me two. I'll send you one of mine.
Thanks, Andrew. Tip my
He
hat.
says you're welcome.
Yeah, he's like, F you, bro.
What's up with chat? How we doing, guys?
Whew.
Vince is here. Oh, speak of the devil, Andrew. What up? Willie. Good old Lithgow Lights. Long time no see, bro. Gonna throw that one up. And we got Anthony hanging out. Did I say Vince already? Danny Dangerous. Maria. Welcome, Maria. Welcome. Glad to have you. Neil. I don't think... Have we seen Neil? What's up, Neil? Welcome
Good
to the
day.
party.
Be well.
Is it Brosnan? Like Pierce Brosnan? Bronson?
Bronson.
It's not Pierce
007.
Bronson, though.
I had to look at the screen to see what you were talking
I'm
about.
talking about cubing. Cubing is here. It's good to see. And I don't see my wife, interesting enough. Though she's probably lurking in the shadows somewhere. Shout out to my wife, Miranda. Wouldn't be here without you. Keith. What's up, Keith? It's a name I've been seeing a lot lately.
Yeah,
Good to see you, man.
dog lover.
All right, I'm scrolling faster and faster here. If you're joining us live, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's great to see you. And Matt, your beard is looking particularly full.
Yeah, in the shadows, it looks even darker. It's getting there. It's fall. I told you fall is in the air. It only got up to 93 today in Florida, which
Nice.
was a frigid 93. Like this morning, it was 72 degrees until 8:30. Which
They
is
say all of the like dead organic compounds in the air from all the rotting biological nonsense, because it's autumn, really strengthens a man's beard.
basically. I
That's what
mean,
they
your
say.
body. I mean, manliest men. It just comes in like look at all of us. They're coming in looking
This
good.
this isn't even funny, Michael, because that happens. So
Literally, like you just see a baby floating behind them.
multiple times today. Seriously.
By the way, shout out to Keith for being on the first office hours. Came and see the first office hours.
Yep,
right?
true that. I knew I recognized that name. That was from the office hours slash LMA Live. Have we even talked about that on the podcast at all?
Here, it's hit or miss, so we should talk about it tonight.
We will. Yeah. After we get through some questions, we can definitely do that. So my hit list for tonight, we have obviously coaching. I'm sure that's a big reason people clicked tonight's live stream. We also have the LMA events, which is really big, and Boyce is here, so we can put him on the spot. Woo! And I don't know, there's a couple marketplace updates right on the cusp of launching that. And I think that's it as far as just like topical stuff. So, Kyle, you got a nice little backlog there.
Yeah.
Of stars.
Yep. So Lithgo says, wonder how the EasyCAD 3 support in Lightburn is going, as I have 3 and not been following that at all lately. They haven't posted anything publicly about that yet. So I don't know. As far as I know, it was still something that they were going to have to dig into deeply, and they're not done implementing EasyCAD 2 stuff yet.
I have not heard a single word about that.
I'll say from what I've heard, CNC is their next tackle, like CNC machines, because they've mentioned that in a few forums. I think that's one of the next things. So EasyCAD might be back behind that.
If EasyCAD 3 is important to you, to anybody, not just to him, you need to make that known, because Lightburn actually targets support for things based off of what the people who have bought into their ecosystem are looking for. Yeah. So go to their website, go to the forums, and at the top, you'll see a suggestions area. When you click on that, look through the things that other people have posted and tag on. If you just say, I want EasyCAD 3 support on a new post, it's like spreading all the votes out, and they're never going to get a clear count on that. Start adding on to an existing post. I'm sure there's at least 5 there, and make a comment saying this is why you want it and you understand it's challenging, and that'll make it known to them that you want it.
Yeah, good call.
I am looking really quick.
Yeah, I'm on there too. I don't know what I'm looking at. Whew.
I am on Wavetop Sign on AliExpress, and you can currently get an EasyCAD 2 board for $245.70. And that's absolutely my recommended course of action. If you want to get on Lightburn, just swap the board. We have a painstakingly detailed video on exactly how to downgrade from an EasyCAD 3 board to an EasyCAD 2 board. So unless you're actually using a 3D Galvo head, that would be my recommendation. If you're using the 3D Galvo head, then you're effed either way. But if you're not using that functionality and you've got a 2D scan head on there, there's no reason not to downgrade. It's $250 to not wait an unknown amount of time for Lightburn support. So that would be my suggestion on that.
Next question up. Maria says, I'm new to fiber lasers, can't decide which fiber laser to buy. Thinking of doing some gold-plated jewelry. Any suggestions? And also signs. So those are some very different spectrums of products. Fibers aren't really known for doing signs typically, unless you're doing like metal. Yeah.
Or acrylic.
So if you're looking for a fiber, we actually have done a lot of reviews. So what I would suggest is watch through the reviews and see what we look at and why. And that will give you a target as to what to look for when you're looking for a vendor. You could look at those vendors. You could look at other vendors. Kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're doing a lot of gold-plated jewelry and stuff like that, if you're going to be doing cutting, you'll probably want at least a 50 or 60 watt. Just general engraving, you could go for a 30 watt and be fine. It just really depends on what you want to do. And you also said, where do you source metal sheets? So that suggests you might be doing some cutting. You're probably going to want to go for like a 50 or 60 watt then. And just note that galvos aren't really great at cutting, which we talk about, but that's a factor as well. Check out the buying guide. Soon you'll be able to check out the marketplace. Yeah.
I got a quick comment for that too. For the metal sheets, there's a website. I'll find it before the end of the show, but go to your local jeweler. I literally just walked up to one of the family-owned jewelers. I'm in a small town in Florida. And when I walked into the family jewelers, I said, hey, I'm looking to do some laser engraving and laser cutting. And first off, they were immediately like, oh, let's work together. So that was kind of cool. They wanted to know what I could do. So I'm going to be working with them. And that's just one of those things where you kind of, that was fortuitous. But I literally was like, oh, that's cool. Well, I'm here to talk about, I've never done it before, so I'd love to learn. Do you guys sell sheets of gold or sterling silver? And she was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And she pulled out this book that they use for their stuff. And she just started pricing stuff out for me. It was actually pretty reasonable. So don't overlook just going and talking to people in your area for that kind of stuff, because they're already the experts and they already have the channels to get that kind of stuff for you. And I think I'm sure I'm paying an upsale of like $5 or $6, but hey, family, small business, go for it, right? So,
yeah, yeah, and they're gonna have probably good sources for prices locally. So, what do we got next? We have
Mike
Keith.
C. Oh, whoops.
I need a benchtop size laser that will cut stainless steel to 0.5 millimeter cleanly and moderate speeds. Any suggestions? Cutting stainless steel at 0.5 millimeter cleanly at moderate speeds. Look at small fiber cutters. I know Wisely makes some smaller ones, and they're actually dedicated fiber cutters. They're not really engravers. You can do compressed gas with them and stuff. Galvo lasers are not great at cutting. They get by, but you're going to be doing it slowly. 0.5 isn't really that bad, but if you're going to be doing a ton of it, production style, you're probably going to want something that's going to do a nicer cut quicker. Otherwise, you could go for like a 50 or a 60 watt. You could even do a 30 watt with 0.5 millimeter, but it's all about time and the quality and how much time you're going to spend on cleaning it up. So if it's a business situation, you got some weighing to do there. You guys got any?
Yeah, I was going to say, I just starred the one from Willie. Willie, that is the name I was trying to remember. Rio Grande is the resource for gold and silver. You can actually buy chains. You can buy, like when my daughter's necklace broke, and the people who I was just talking about were on vacation. So I went to one of the big stores like K's or whatever. And they were like, oh, that'll be $45. And I was like, for a chain, to, like her little necklace broke. And I literally went online with shipping and everything. I think I paid $18 to have it brought so I could just put some little like clasp on. So and that was for a sterling silver necklace. So definitely Rio Grande. Thank you, Willie. The other thing is, he said Cal's beard is growing massive. You actually,
dude, I just trimmed it last week. I think
it was looking like this last week. Like
it was down past the like this when you're looking at me. I easily cut like at least 3 inches off.
Okay. Speaking of weightiness, so Danny Dangerous says, how heavy is a fiber laser and can you travel with it? So that's actually something that Kyle and I are working on right now with a series called Fiber Laser to Go. And the next video has already been filmed for that. So it's being edited and then it'll be uploaded. But there's a couple of options. I guess you can see the one behind me right here. That's a UV, but that's what's called a split unit. And so that's one option that you can get. It's where the fiber laser source itself and the fiber optics and the tower are split. So they're literally two pieces, which is nice because you can take it apart and then move it and have a little more, I guess, freedom of how you store those while it's moving. But you got to be really mindful because that fiber optic cable needs to be very carefully handled. And basically, Kyle I think Kyle said whatever direction it wants to go, you kind of need to let it go that way. You can put a little tension on it, but not.
You can move it around, but you definitely don't want to, like if you're disassembling it and reassembling it a ton or anything like that, you're adding potential to rotate that fiber cable a lot, which is going to cause it to bind up on itself. And also that tension while moving up and down to focus, you're increasing the chances of cracking that fiber optic. Fiber optic is just glass cabling, essentially. So it's not really meant to be beat on. So moving it around, you have to be careful. And that's part of the reason why we suggest smaller lasers for travel. Even if you have a big dog at home to work with, you need to be able to move it around competently. And by competently, I mean, you want to move it around. You don't want it to move you around while you're walking with it, because
and it's going to be multiple trips.
If you can't control it, if you can't control it, you're increasing the chance of A, injuring yourself, but B, if you drop it, if you bump into somebody or something and it gets pinched against a wall, or if you drop the whole unit, all the components in there aren't really rated to be shock tested, right? They're like hard mounted to metal. So for travel units, we really do recommend like smaller stuff. If you're going to be, if that's its purpose built thing, if that's what you're using it for all the time, and that's the best case move, because then you're reducing the chance of, most importantly, hurting yourself. You don't want that. And
and specifically, one of the things I wanted to point out is Anthony from Beam It Up Laserworks said, just to specifically answer your question, a split unit is usually about 90 pounds. I think it's 45 kilos or 50, almost 50 kilos when they ship it to you with the crate and everything. And it comes out to about 90 pounds, exactly right. And then the other thing is Beam It Up Laserworks, which is also Anthony, said it's about 60 pounds or so, probably like 55, 60 pounds for the all-in-one unit, which I have here. And that's where it literally is all combined. It's like it's almost like when you used to go to a LAN party for a video game and you were carrying all your crap in a box. You can literally just put it into a small crate and take it. You can put it on an AV cart and wheel it to where you need to get it to, and you're good. So pretty sweet. But still, you have to be really careful with the fiber optic cable for sure.
Yeah. There are some newer all-in-ones that have the fiber optic built into like the tower neck part. Those are great for travel too. Just be mindful. You can still break those too. Yeah. You didn't realize you needed a separate fiber laser for cutting metals with no galvo. How does it move? You don't technically. So galvo lasers aren't really intended for cutting because there is no air assist. A dedicated fiber cutter uses a gantry, and you can use nitrogen, oxygen, CO2, whatever, depending on what you're cutting and how thick it is, and it can do it far more efficiently and way faster. Because if you think about it, a galvo head, your beams are going to be coming down at angles because you're not cutting directly underneath the lens all the time in the center, right? So as you move back and forth, you're cutting at an angle down the path of the metal, and you're going to end up with burring. You're cutting thicker than the material actually is because you're cutting at an angle. There's other factors. You can do it. It's just not ideal when you're doing it in bulk. That's all I mean.
Yeah.
If you are going to be doing bulk processes with specifically cutting, a cutter is the right tool for the job. And they do make lower wattage cutters specific for thin materials that are a little more achievable in price than like a big tabletop cutter.
Yeah, and it would blast through a 0.5 millimeter quick. And also a lot of those systems are enclosed where you have it's got the exhaust in it, and it's got the shielding so that you just, when you pull down, it goes. But
Yep.
So
All good stuff.
Good answer, Kyle.
Yep. It's a fiber cutter looks like a CO2 laser that you would think of, but we think of CO2 lasers the way we do because they're on a gantry. Like this big laser behind me is a CO2. Oh God, I'm backwards. I'm bad at this. This laser right here is a CO2 galvo, but it's not a gantry, obviously. So I hope that differentiation helps explain that.
All right,
Yes, they are heavier than it looks.
I got the next one for you. I just realized that I missed Lasered Live. Totally bummed. How did it go? Alex, what do you think?
Lasered Live. It was great. But we want to see more people next time. We have almost 3,000 members. We flux back and forth on that number. And we had like 5 show up to the first one. So we need to do better advertising for it to let people know that it's a thing that they get with their LMA membership. So we're going to really push that next time. I have plans to take the one that we did, because they're all recorded, and kind of chop up like a teaser trailer out of it so that people can see we did set some things on fire. It wouldn't be totally lasered if there wasn't a fire.
Science, baby.
Yeah, science for science. So I want to like chop up a teaser trailer to show people what it's like to be involved in Lasered Live. I guess we can take a quick break really quick and talk about it since it came up naturally on its own. Let me pull up a screen to share here, and I'll show you guys what's coming up for the rest of the month, because most of you guys are LMA members already. A lot of our regular live stream viewership, so you guys can just come to this. It's something you can just go to. So here is the Laser Everything website. As you guys know, we did a very, very brief mention of this, and I don't think it was done the last time we talked about it. But if you come up here, it has its own dedicated link now. It used to be hidden under shows. I just put it right up front so everybody can find it. It's called events. And this is called LMA events. And the reason that we introduced this was because we published the LMA parameter libraries for free for everyone on the website. And that took away some of the value that our LMA members get for supporting Laser Everything, all of our websites, all of our services, yada, yada, yada. You guys hear it every week. But we wanted to add a little value in its place, and this is what we came up with. So basically, they're events that are hosted monthly, and they're hosted not on a live streaming platform, but on Google Meet. So you guys can actually be there hanging out with us and chatting with us while we're doing the things that we're doing. And we came up with a few micro shows to run during these events. So we just did Lasered Live. It was the first weekend of September, and we spent 2 hours basically trying to get good marks on varying pieces of wood. I
was shocked how awesome that came out by the end.
I'll pull that up. We can take a look at that too. It was a lot of fun just to hang out with the guys. I mean, a lot of our like core regulars, like the regulars, the super fans were there. So it was really good fun to hang out with them. Shout out to Vince, was there for sure. Andrew was kicking it with us. So it was a really good time.
And what's really cool too is Keith, who's brand new, came in and said, "I don't know anything about lasers really. I'm still learning." And we did an aluminum tag for Luna, and it was really cool. And so literally, we talked about why it was lined up the way it got lined up. Talked about centering things underneath the like how we frame them up. It was really cool. So we went from like really advanced stuff to just basics starting.
Yeah, if you guys are LMA members, it's really easy to find. You just scroll down here to the courses section, and it's in the LE Event Center. And if you click that, you can see they're all in the calendar right here. So anything that's been scheduled is in the calendar, and you can RSVP and get the link to the Google Meet room. Google Meet has a cap of, I think, 100 people. So the RSVPs max out at 100 people. So it's first come, first serve. Not a problem we had with Lasered Live. But I think as the word kind of spreads that we're doing this, I think it may be an issue that we're having in the future, especially because you guys get to participate. Not only can you see... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Vince also makes note, it was a holiday weekend, to be fair.
Yeah, very true. And not only can you see the upcoming events, but you can also check out the past ones. And I'm going to try to make a habit of this. But if we click the Lasered Live meetup number 1, you can see the stuff that we did. I uploaded it. So there's a zip file here with all the photos. I linked everything that we used in the episode. And then I included the settings. And I also added these settings for Walnut on a fiber laser to the community library. And a lot of these photos were like really cool. Like things came out really well. Let me just unzip this really quick.
Yeah, and this was it was hardwood from Ukuch.
Yeah, it was Ukuch. Yep. The first one was the best one. So that was the final mark that we'd settled on after spending all that time trying to do this.
That's what the
this is
fiber
kinda
laser, and it
special,
took
too.
like a minute.
I was going to say, this is kind of special too, because wood is not something you generally go straight to the fiber with, right?
Yeah.
So, and you kind of go through the process of what you were doing, how you got there, what you used as a starting point, what you changed, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I think is really
we were
good for
doing.
people
We were in here converting too because
starting out.
Vince gave us some starter settings that he liked to use on his laser, and that's kind of what's cool about the events is that we all get to kind of collaborate and work on problems together. So it was literally on the jam board in Google Meet doing the math live and showing people how to do the math to convert the percentages on power in order to get something close on my laser. And then, of course, the tweaking process began because not everything just works out of the box like that. You have to go in and, like get those settings where they need to be. I thought
Did you
that
do
we had
cross
some pictures.
multiplication?
We did. Yeah, it definitely did.
What?
It's
I never thought that
proportions.
was real.
Yeah, it's proportions. We burned a hole straight through. This is at least a half-inch thick of maple. Just burnt right through it in one go, which was pretty crazy. So there was definitely some fire. And yes, I know that the question is going to be asked. These will be published for LMA members to watch after the fact, but I'd still really encourage you to come to them live. We are going to publish chunks of these publicly, but if you want the whole live experience, you have to be an LMA member. And if you want to be involved and participate, like actually participate in this, then you definitely have to be an LMA member, right? Because then that's the only way you can get in while we're actually shooting it. But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with everybody, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. If you want an idea of what it was like, here's actually just a tiny little clip. If this will recognize that it is an MP4. Uh-oh. Where did I put that?
Keith says it was neat to say the least.
It was neat. And there's going to be a lot more like it.
Oh, yeah. People got to see Andrew's face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. While I'm looking for this, Matt, I'll let you talk about because
I'm really excited.
You've got business body coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have planned for that?
So I'm going to be in like full teacher mode. I actually today was writing up my lesson plan, like straight up, like, so my learning target would literally be like, today I will learn how to better be prepared to raise money using a fundraiser with high schools. So literally I'm spending Saturday teaching you, like I've actually got Word documents and PDFs. Like as such a teacher, it's like, take these and pass them back.
Yeah.
But like I literally have a Word document that you can actually just change some of the words in. And this is just for the LMA members. You change a couple of words, you drop a picture into it, and you're ready to fundraise. Like basically that's it. But the thing is, there's a lot of questions. So a lot of people always say, well, I really want to get into a high school. Like I know Boyce and Diana are trying to get into the schools, but the first question is like, how do I find somebody to talk to? Who is the right person to talk to? Like you would think, oh, just go to the school, but really you want to find the was it 503Cs or what are they called? My brain's farting on me.
I don't know. I don't even know. You're a teacher.
I think it's 503.
503. Like basically you want to find those people who actually have money who can spend it without having to go through some kind of a process of all the red tape. And so literally like Boyce is already starting to write stuff down. Just show up on Saturday, Boyce. So anyways,
Boyce is like, I can't. I have to sell Molly at the clubs.
That's true.
Emergencystop.net.
So anyways, that's literally what my plan is for Saturday. So I've actually got the Word document. And the nice thing is teaching you who to talk to, how to talk to them, and basically all the stuff that you need. Because a lot of times teachers can and coaches are exhausted and they don't want to do fundraising. They do not want to. They want the money, but they don't want to do anything extra. So basically it's the ownership is on the kids to go out and hustle. They bring it back to the coach. The coach collects all the money. And then all they do is send you an order form. Hey, I need 75 of these with these customized names on it. Done. So long story short, that's literally what you do. And I've got one going on right now. I mean, I spent about 15 minutes making a template. I made the order form for him, and then I sent it, and he said, hey, I'll contact you around October 1st, and we'll get the order sent in. And that's it. So I spent 15 minutes, and all I'm going to do is make money with it. So, but getting those contacts and finding the right people and the right things, knowing what sports are going on and what events are going on, that's pretty much what Saturday is going to be about for us. And so I'm literally going to stop the class for a second and be like, all right, I want you guys to take 2 or 3 minutes and find the local schools that you want to target. So, which by the way, sounds really terrible, that you want to target for sales. Well, so that you want to target, and like, we're going to literally walk through it so that when you leave, you literally have like a sheet of paper that says, here's who I'm going to talk to. Here's what I'm going to do.
You could say
actionable steps.
They'll leave with a hit list.
I guess you could say you gave it a shot, but like, we're done with that. We're done.
My God.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh
all right.
So Laser,
great.
Laser of Love. So Laura says,
I
have to get in there to the LMA. What's the subscription cost, please? $8 a month, or $25 if you're really crazy and want to support us. And I believe there's a discount if you do annual.
There is.
Yeah, it's
so,
$10. I think it's.
I was.
Yeah. And dude, it's so worth it. So I'm telling you, just this piece of paper alone will be worth it, I think, honestly.
$8.
Saying.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Plus,
you get access to the community. It's been a while since we've talked about the benefits of the LMA, but one of the best parts about being a member of the LMA is that you get to be surrounded by people that are paying to be a part of that community. You know what I mean? And so the quality of the content overall is high. So that's another great benefit of being there. And we have links literally plastered everywhere for people to sign up now, especially because we're giving the LMA parameter libraries that used to be exclusive to those members away for free, which many people have thanked us for. But in order for us to continue doing stuff like that, we still need your guys' support. And so, again, this is our kind of way to add value back into the LMA. We have, so after Matt does business body, I'm going to cut you off, Matt, because you're giving away the whole class. The next one up is going to be photo video. And so one of the big things that we get asked a lot about that the podcast is not an appropriate forum for is like picture taking advice and doing like videos of your products and, you know, using those things for branding and advertising. That's something I'm really good at because I'm a YouTuber. I do it literally all day, every day. And I feel like that's a skill that I can share with you guys. And so a kind of more like interactive class format, I think would be really advantageous for that specific kind of content. So if you want to take better product photos, if you want to make better, you know, branding, icons, logos, vectors, if you want to shoot videos about your business or your products or your services, you don't know what camera to buy, you don't know what kind of lights to get, that is where photo video is really going to help you out. And so I'm really excited to offer that one. That'll be coming up the week after the business body class with Matt. And then finally, Boyce, who literally got zero say in this whatsoever. I'd like to remind people that I signed him up. I just said, you're doing this. Take your 5 hours a week or whatever that we see you when you're not selling Molly at the club and put it towards this. Emergencystop.net. We named it Get Extroverted. And the caption, and I'm reading it for Boyce because I don't even think Boyce knows what it's about. Boyce takes you along on his evolving journey to master leveraging social media. So if you don't know, Boyce is in charge of our social media. He's been doing a lot of work with like live streaming and interacting with customer base on social platforms, not just for Laser Everything, but for his own business, which I know has been core in him getting his business like up and running. And he's very still kind of early on in his business development cycle. Boyce has literally started from ground zero, and he's so successful in that you guys haven't seen it yet, but Boyce just posted this picture, and it's just his living room, and it's just full to the ceiling with like stuff like that he's pre-made, like gifts that he's selling at like craft fairs and stuff, and he's making a killing. So I feel like Boyce is uniquely positioned to provide this kind of information, and thus I told him he was doing this course. Do you have anything you want to say about it yet?
Well, it's called Voluntold.
Voluntold, yeah, precisely.
Yeah. Military shit. Anyway, no, but the big thing is for me is going to be how to help people. Got to get in the right format, And again, rolling off of what you were saying about picture quality, video quality, and then how to tag things, how to find things that are trending, all that kind of stuff. And then how, like, I'm still learning about the ads. The ads are really weird. They've changed.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's not, I don't think it's as effective on Instagram like it used to be. You can really get good interactions on Instagram. So it's kind of been, down a little bit here lately. But
like finding your target market.
Yep. And I'm gonna do more research on like TikTok Shop as well. So I think it's a place for growth.
It was serendipitous for sure, but like I kind of like how photo video comes first and then Get Extroverted comes right after it, because literally people are gonna like walk away with photo and video skills that they can then apply in like more of like your applied
social marketing
session. So mine are like fundamental skills, and then yours are the application of those skills, and that'll be like really nice to have kind of paired back to back.
And I'm going to make sure I watch that too, so I can carry over your terminology and stuff that I know they've learned.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. One more thing I was going to talk about too with the LMA is, as the new guy on the block, as far as working here full time and actually being in the LMA all the time. What's really cool is like Kyle, Alex, or myself try to answer the questions daily. But it's usually like I will look at it in the morning. Alex usually takes a look in the afternoon, and Kyle's usually in the evening, kind of a thing.
Kinda. It's mostly you too. Let's be real.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, we're across the day, we're spread out. We look at it. But even then, in between, you've got people like Vince who do a great job of helping people with questions on the daily. You got Al Fernandez. You've got Mark Garrett's. Right?
Mark Garrett's, yeah.
Which, by the way, some of these are people who are talking at LBX. So these are people who you're working with who are considered like experts in the field. And if we're not there to help you with your specific question, or you don't see it get answered quickly, you can put it into a DM where it literally gets queued up, and we knock them out as we get them. So it's one of those things where a 24-hour turnaround on a question that's going to help you make $1,000, it's still pretty
we have a lot of input too. I want to just kind of like shout out the mods. We get a lot of input and questions answered from the mods. Anthony, Andrew,
Jack in the
Michael. Shop. Jack just joined the team. Ace Master just joined the team. Our mods are the definition of trial by fire. Like they literally have gone through the gauntlet to learn this stuff firsthand, and now they're out there after having learned it from us in the community, and passing that knowledge on, and they go hard. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for everything you do. I was just telling Miranda and Kyle, I'm not looking forward to the Christmas present I'm gonna have to get them this year.
Did we say Michael's name? Michael's always on
I said Michael. Yeah,
okay,
I got Michael.
We got so many that are awesome. Like honestly,
we have a very long list of very helpful people.
Yeah. But it's particularly densely populated over at the LMA, which is awesome. I do want to just show you guys how to find these events real quick. So if the events are something you're interested in participating in, you want more information about it, you can check out the upcoming events right here. By clicking that, it takes you literally to a list of the events. They should have descriptions. I, with the marketplace launching, have not had time to fill out descriptions for like this specific dates events. Like what is the teacher going to cover on that event day? That's what this details soon placeholder is for. But it does have the date, the time, and a link to the event, which if you click it will take you to the event on the LMA. If you're not a member, it'll take you to the sign up page of the LMA. But again, guys, this is how we fund everything we do, whether it's the new MakerREMIX social network, which is super dope and you should check out, or the marketplace, or YouTube videos, or a wiki entry somewhere, or a forum post, or answering your questions in Facebook. I mean, like these guys get paid to do this thanks to the community. Boyce, Kyle, Matt literally get to sit here all day and help people because the community pays for it. And that's 99% via the LMA. So it really is important if you enjoy the channel and the resources that we have to sign up for the LMA. And we're trying to make it as valuable as possible for you guys while not putting vital information behind a paywall. So because we don't believe in that here. If you see something, you can click the link. You can also just go straight to the LMA registration page if you want. And last but not least, every single one of these LMA events is followed by an office hours. And office hours are just like this. It's literally a Q&A session on like Laser Everything on a live stream, except you get to ask your questions like audibly, and we can share your screen and fix your problems in front of our smaller groups and really focus on eliminating issues or teaching new techniques. The office hours are amazing, and they're so important that they're consistent every single week, regardless of the class that's going on this week. So I just want to also give the office hours a shout out, because I feel like it's a really good resource. If you have a specific question and we're like, we say it all the time, right, guys? Where we're like, we can't really answer that on the podcast. It's really involved. Office hours, we stop what we're doing and we will solve the problem. Like that is what office hours is for. It gives us the ability to do that in a class setting. And then we can share the answer after the fact with people via like a short video or something like that. So really, really powerful, the office hours. Again, a link to view the schedule if you want to check that out. As many of us as are available, try to attend the office hours so that you get the full panel just like you do when we do the podcast. So that's kind of what I have to talk about there. So that's it. That's LMA events. If you're interested, you can go to lasereverything.net/events to get a little more information about it. But
I see one more thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
I was going to say we have a couple more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So Mike C asked a little bit ago, what's the smallest footprint of a fiber gantry you've seen on the market? I think like 16 by 20 or 16 by 24, something like that. Yeah. But mind you, it's a fully enclosed cabinet. And now you're also incorporating like compressed gas and stuff too. So the size, think taller and a little bit bigger than a normal gantry.
Like a big
that would enclose something that big, and you're around that ballpark. Danny says MOPA, worth it, ? And says, I know MOPA gives you access to a much higher frequency range. What are their use cases? MOPA is generally what people go for when they're looking to do consistent colors, or at least more consistent colors on like stainless and titanium. It also unlocks pulse width. So it allows you to change your pulse width to either work more heat into a material for shorter or longer pulses, helps you with cutting.
Or less heat on a material. It's very useful for safe plastic marking. Where a normal laser, the pulse width is just too high and you're delivering too much energy regardless of the power setting that you use. Lowering that pulse width way down enables you to mark a massive range of plastics that, again, are safe to mark. We have a list of non-safe materials on our website that we're updating regularly. It's called the Material Safety Guide if you have questions about that. So that's immensely useful. And as Kyle mentioned, cutting, you can raise that pulse width and increase the duration of those pulses so that every time that laser pulses, you're delivering sometimes as much as twice as much energy per pulse, which can rapidly increase the amount of time that it takes to do things like cutting or very, very deep marking. It's not something we talk about on the channel a lot, mostly because we've been, before the marketplace havoc, we were really focused on fundamentals and getting people's machines up and running. And this is definitely more of an advanced topic, but it's something we understand very well and can definitely do videos on in the future. But those are some of the main reasons. If you feel like any of those reasons align with your use case, then MOPA's absolutely worth it. It's a huge time saver, not only in just raw time savings on things like cutting, but in development time for settings, because you do have very, very fine control over the power being distributed. One of the analogies that I've been using lately that I'm pretty fond of is if your power setting is the macro adjustment knob for your power, the pulse width is the micro adjustment, right? So you get in the area that you want on your percentage, and then you tweak on the pulse width, and it's like a fine dial. So for every percentage of power that you are at, you get the full range of pulse width to adjust at that percentage. It makes a huge difference. It's not that simple. I'm oversimplifying it, but it's a good visual, and it really, really helps. So
it's hard to naturally describe what kind of effect it has without understanding the concept behind it better.
If you want to learn more
But-
about the concept, you can check out everything you need to know about galvo lasers. It's one of the most common videos on the front page of our channel. It's literally plastered all over it. Go watch that. We get into it a little bit more, and for an even deeper explanation, we'll definitely look into some content in the future on that. But we cover it fairly well from a beginner's perspective on the channel now.
Yep. Laura donated $9.99 with a super sticker that says,
What
"Thank
up?
you, smiley face." Thank you, Laura, for your support.
Additionally, thank you, Laura. G. Smith said, if you guys want to critique a website, do mine. I have the machines. I have about
That's what I
20
was gonna
hours per
say.
week for lasering. I don't have sales. Need more sales. This would be so fun to do. Like not even as like a stream, but just like a video. Like I would
Yeah.
love to just like sit, have the panel at the bottom, the website up at the top, and we just like roast websites.
God.
Not
And,
roast, but
like in a fun way, like a teasing, like,
constructive
oh my God.
criticisms.
It
Look
will
at this
be-
pile of trash.
We'll call it constructive roasting. And
Deconstructive.
we could
Constructive.
even like provide some assets, like if the logo is really rough, like maybe we'll draft a new one and give some ideas or something. You know what I mean? Like we could do like that
We
kind
can
of stuff
figure that
to
out.
integrate some learning in with the critiquing, and that might be cool. But I really like that idea. I can kind of see it in my head. It instantly gave me a vision for like what that kind of episode would look like. I think
That's
it'd be a
actually
lot
one
fun.
of the things too that Alex had told me way back when. He's like, "Hey, I really want you when you get in here and start working. I want you to start looking at like, what are the different ones? I use Shopify. Then what did you use? There's Clover, Square,
Yeah, Square was
and,
great.
and Wix. I think are the four we kind of said would be like those are like the most commonly used.
Square, not to be confused with Squarespace, which
Right.
should also be on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah.
go. So four.
Go
but
ahead,
yeah.
sorry.
I was gonna say that's what we're gonna. I really want to dig into those too because honestly, Shopify sometimes I get annoyed by it,
Mhm.
but like it's a 9 out of 10. But I want to. It's like one of those things. Like, is there something better? I don't know.
Tell you what,
So-
if that's something you're interested in, if you guys want to submit your website and have us try and do a little roasting session to help you improve, go to the feedback form on the
Feedback
website
form.
and submit it under general feedback, and we'll assemble a list, leave your email in there, put your website in there, so we can contact you and look at your website, and we can figure that out at some
If
point.
you don't know where that is, throw me back up. If you don't know where that is, lasereverything.net, scroll down to the bottom, feedback form. It's right there.
It's literally like on almost every single page of the website.
Yeah,
It's in every
if it's
footer.
popular and we get a lot of submissions, maybe we'll make a dedicated place for those submissions. But this is a great idea, Kyle, for us to kind of like test out the waters for sure. That's as far as I read in chat. I was not looking ahead.
I got another question here. Laser 2 Leather. So I've been trying to understand Q-Pulse and what it means to the UV. It means exactly kind of the same thing. UV, you don't have power percent like you do with fiber and CO2.
Yeah, it's 100% duty cycle, so it's always at max power.
So it's either on or off, essentially. And pulse width is functionally, it functions as your power in tandem with your frequency. So it's very much going to do the same thing in a way, but not really.
I mean,
You
it's
can
it's for the same reason that we just described when talking about fiber laser pulse width, Q pulse interchangeable. The longer the pulse, literally, it's the length of the pulse. It's not like a weird science or math thing. It's how long the pulse is lasting in nanoseconds. The longer the pulse, the more laser is being shot. It's that literal. It's so a longer pulse width means more power, unless you have an inverted source, and then it means less power, and that's kind of weird. And we can talk about that another time. But just it's very. I mean, I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's that simple, It gets a little weird when we start talking about pulse width and frequency together, but.
I was gonna say, I can see it starting to go that way.
I know.
It's like,
I know.
reel it
I'm
back.
trying not to do that.
To add a wrench into the mix on that with
All right.
UV as well, you also have inverted pulse width. So for things like on my 5-watt JPT, 1 Q pulse at 40 to 50 frequency is going to give me maximum output. Whereas on Alex's,
which is the right way,
which on Alex's
The
Ingu,
upside
which
down
is the
way.
right
is
way.
inverted to mine.
He's
So
got an we've
it's
got
like,
an
what is it, 33 Q pulse?
No, yours, sir,
whatever the
is
frequency
inverted
is.
to mine.
Well,
The
or it's
longer
inverted to
the
mine.
pulse width, this is why it's confusing to people, because JPT does it a stupid way, and they
Mhm.
invert their pulse width. So the shorter the pulse width in nanoseconds, which doesn't make any sense at all, distributes the most power. The longer the pulse width on the Ingu sources,
Tell me you're a
which is
huge
the
nerd
right way,
without telling me you're a huge nerd.
which is the right way, means more power distributed.
Size matters,
Yes.
guys.
So, long story short, if you end up doing like a test grid with your UV and you do like a Q pulse and you do like a range of like every 2 or 3, and then you do a frequency range of like 100 every 10 frequency, you'll get a pretty good mapped idea of where the hard parts are hitting. Dry roasted, very nice.
Roasted. Additionally, and we're not getting into this. Additionally, both Lightburn and EasyCAD give you an option to invert your pulse width, which can be helpful, but also hinder you, because if you have a UV source that uses the UV beam as the targeting laser, it breaks the targeting laser when you invert the pulse width. So you can, if yours is the wrong way,
Your targeting
You can
laser
invert it.
turns into a marking laser, and your marking laser turns
Yeah.
into something
It's-
totally different.
it's
Don't do it.
It's
Just don't
bizarre.
do it.
So anyway, that's
Um,
it.
I don't like when our dads argue.
We're not arguing. Kyle knows I'm right. He just doesn't want to get into it.
Matter of opinion. Armin says, is it worth
Not.
getting the CloudRay 30 watt QS Light Marker Pro versus the Monport 30 watt split fiber laser? Price difference is about $500. Officially speaking, we haven't reviewed either of those two systems, and nobody on our staff has had hands-on with either. So 50 to 60% of a recommendation can't really be given in that case. We can tell you yay or nay based off of the spec sheet, but
Is the
I
Light
mean,
Marker Pro an
if you have a
all-in-one
box of parts,
or a split?
Let's look.
I will pull it up.
I'm just curious. $500. I know for a lot of people, me sometimes included, $500 is make or break on whether or not you're paying rent or feeding your kids. But big, giant, blubbery butt. When you're looking at prices of laser engraving machines that are thousands of dollars, a $500 price difference is negligible. So my opinion is that if there is a form factor difference, I would go with the one whose form factor meets your needs. I said who meets your needs the best. Whomst.
Sounds like an inverted Ingu.
Emergencystop.net. I'm not inverted. Kyle is inverted.
Anyways, it looks like I think the one I saw.
Wait a
it's
minute.
Split unit, right?
Okay.
The 30 watt
I have it.
QS
I have it.
Light Marker
I'm trying
Pro.
to-
Yeah, Kyle's got it.
Okay. It's a split
Okay.
unit.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the
So-
Monport.
Now, to be fair, Monport does have an
Yeah.
all-in-one. It is more expensive. I don't know.
Yeah,
What the,
I'm telling you,
I don't know what the assembly
specific.
difference is.
He listed specific models, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So this
okay.
is, I believe, the one he was referring to.
Mhm.
On port 30 split. Yep.
So $3,099 comes with a 200 millimeter lens. It looks like product weight 92 pounds.
Mhm.
Package weight 110 pounds. Features and benefits. No specifications. Okay, so EasyCAD 2. So it'll work with Lightburn.
That's good.
30 watt. It doesn't say
The source brand, Rakis.
Rakis. Okay,
It's the
so
QS.
there's
That's
like
why they call it the Q. Oh, no, this
Yeah.
isn't the QS.
no.
Hmm.
There's 3 different Rakis sources in the 30 watt variant, I believe. There's 3 different models.
Mhm.
But either way, they're going to perform more or less the same. You just have a different frequency range.
You know what would be really
Um,
cool right now?
So let's see I want to see the Cloud Ray.
I was going to say the ability to compare two lasers against each other would be
If
such
only
a,
there was a website where you could do
I
that.
don't know, like a marketplace or something.
Yeah.
So $32.99 versus $30.99. So it's $200 difference. But I guess that's also not factoring in potential shipping, I guess.
Mhm. I can't imagine this must be a negligible difference between these two units.
I believe they're using Arrakis as well.
Yeah.
For that price for a 30 watt, I feel like they'd have to be.
Could be a Max source too.
Oh, that's
wait,
true.
go back up. Are they using a full LMC
I believe so.
V4 control board on
Yeah.
this? Oh, get the Cloud Ray. Done. There's your price difference. Problem solved. Extra extension axes. It's a more common card. It's a more standby card. If you ever have to use EasyCAD and can't use Lightburn for some reason, you don't have to deal with the light restrictions. Just the axis extensions alone make the full-sized EasyCAD 2 board worth it. And the EasyCAD 2 board is twice, if not slightly more than twice the price of the light board. So if they're putting a full-size EasyCAD 2 board in there, that makes the decision for me.
I actually, in looking into and discussing with them, I believe a lot of their systems are moving to this board. So
it should be. It's the superior board.
Hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to review one of each of their systems, and we'll be able to give you a.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, based on what we're seeing on the website, I personally, if it was my money, would spend the extra money and get the Cloud Ray because of the board. For
$200 difference, that's like a $600 difference in just the control board alone if everything else was the same.
Right.
Because that control board is like a $900 control board off of Alibaba or AliExpress.
Yeah.
Versus usually the cheapest light board I think is like $200, $220. So yeah. Again, disclaimer. We've never touched and or reviewed either of these machines, and all we can do is review the spec list at this time.
Matt just DM'd me and asked if we were going to talk about coaching because we're at an hour. The answer is yes. So I'm going to bring you guys back to the Laser Everything website to close up today's episode. There's a new link on the Laser Everything website. Gosh darn it, how often do I say that?
Say like every week.
If we come under shop, there is a new link here, LE Coaching. If we click it, it is what it sounds like, but with a cool twist. You get two of us. So there will always be two of us on every scheduled coaching call. And we're offering a couple different time slots here. So you can get a 1 hour, a 2 hour, a 3 hour. They are obscenely expensive because we're incredibly busy. That's what it comes down to. It's
also intended for people who are really needing help with very specific and problematic problems, and they need focused time together with.
Which is why there's probably going to be two of us.
Two
so that as one is coaching, one's
Yeah.
helping and sending information, taking pictures, screenshots, everything.
Yeah, it's not really intended for general Q&A. That's what Q&A
Definitely
sessions
not.
are for.
Or
This is
the
for-
LMA events, which you can definitely come to, especially now because there's a lot of room.
This is for like somebody who's setting up a business and needs to get their laser up and running in a day and a half.
Yeah.
And they need the maximum uptime possible between now and door open.
Or you just got offered a $10,000 contract to work for a power plant near you to mark a whole bunch of things over the course of the next year. And you said, yes, I can do that, but you don't know if you can. Like, this is where, literally Jimmy's like, hey, I had a guy who wanted 75 coins and I told him $50 a piece. And he said, sure. And it's like, okay, what are you going to make for him? Oh, I've never done a coin. Like, oh, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. So we tried to, the last time we did this, our sessions were really short. It was then less expensive. It was 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and an hour. And what we found when we were doing those sessions was that every single person went overtime. Like, regardless, every single person went overtime. The hour was the minimum. And there's so many things that can be an obstacle in just getting the meeting started, let alone like actually teaching you anything or helping you solve any problems. We don't want that to be an issue. So rather than dealing with that, we just extended the amount of hours that were available. So 1 hour is now the lowest, followed by 2 and 3. And we list, again, we're at the end of the show. You can read the website if you want to, but we list some things that might be like an ideal use of that time. So if you're curious how much time you need, we try to give you a couple different examples. There is an important note here that just says that we, and anybody who watches the channel knows this, don't regularly work with 3D lasers or 3D scan heads or 3D Galvo software. And those are not things that you should be coming to us for a coaching session for, because we just simply aren't going to be that helpful for you. And I'm nervous enough about that happening that we're having a strict no refund policy on that. Also, the sessions, will not be covering any materials that we deem dangerous. And there is a complete list. Again, I mentioned this earlier in the episode. It's the material safety lookup. Been working on this for a while. Kyle has a few more for me that we need to add. But if the material you want to work with appears on this page, do not book a session because we won't help you with it. We're not going to enable you to injure yourself. So I just want to cover that too. Finally, we do have some resources here for you to come prepared. We want you to use the coaching time for things you can only do during the coaching time. And that often doesn't include things like turning on your computer or figuring out how your mic works. So we give you some resources to help you try to figure that out, some tips and tricks. Matt did a whole write-up, which we're going to link on our listing page, and he'll show you that in a second, on the things that you can do to try to get yourself prepared.
I'm going to answer two questions. One of them is kind of a safety concern. I'm from Brazil, and I want to start with an Mirror 9. Will I be able to cut Formicas with quality? You might be able to cut them with quality, but not safely. Formica is a various products bound in resin, and they're not laser safe. 99% of resin is not laser safe, even if it's listed as non-toxic. Lighting it on fire with a laser creates bad stuff, so not recommended. And then you want to physically cut Formicas. You want to use like bandsaws, saws, scalpels, whatever. And Brennan Lean says, do you have any tips from tricks for marking chrome with motorcycle parts? Yes. Usually you want to be sure you're in focus as much as possible for starters, because you're already working with something that's highly reflective. So if you are out of focus, it's just going to increase the amount of resistance that material is going to have for absorbing it. Number two, usually coating it in something that will help absorb that laser energy can help. You can use like Sharpie, you can use baby powder, something like that to kind of help line it up for marking, and B, the initial mark will help absorb a little bit more quickly with that powder down or that mark, the black mark. Also, something like dry erase marker can also help with highly reflective stuff. There's various things, but that's a good starting point, I think, for getting you testing and going.
Is Formica on the no-no list?
Resin is, and resin is in Formica.
We should add Formica.
Yeah. And I literally just did a quick Google search, and the very first thing that came up was the glue is formaldehyde based, and it's like, ooh, no.
Yeah, no. Here is thank you, Matt, for getting these for me. Here is Matt's document on things. So whether you are setting up your machine or you're looking for like a basic single material lesson, he has a certain list. Or if you're looking for like beginner use, as in like complete scratch setup or advanced technical issues, he gives you a different set of things that you can read over. We'll have that linked again in the listing. And then this is really important. We have a laser setup training prep form. And this is literally for us to collect a bunch of information from you so that we don't have to waste your time that you're spending money on gathering this information during the call, and we can just go. Because that's what we want for you. We want every second that you are spending money on a call with us to be used for teaching and learning and solving and troubleshooting and things like that, not for stuff like this. So this will also be included in the listing. And the first thing is just, what's your order number, right? And you just drop your order number in. We can associate it with your Google Meet call. Done. We know exactly who it's for. And then we just ask you some different questions, like some information about your machine, what your goals are, specific materials you want to try out, and things like that. So those are the steps that we've taken to really maximize your time. And I feel like that's a huge part of where the value comes here. Additionally, we tried to set this website up so that you would check out like just on lasereverything.net. It wasn't working out the way that I wanted. So we have linked this directly to the marketplace. You probably could see that coming. So if you click any of these Book Now links, they'll actually take you to our official listing on the marketplace here. It's currently closed, so you can't click anything or select any booking slots, but this will turn on and activate once you're ready to start taking orders, and you can come in, click a date, pick a time slot, add the booking, done. You get sent a Google Meet notification, you show up at the right time, and we come prepared with your form, and we go. So we've put a lot of thought into how this is going to work, and I'm really happy with how it kind of all came together. So that is that announcement there, and we're at an hour 8 now, so we gotta wrap soon. Does anybody else have anything else on their mind while we are hanging out here? Okay, go.
Also, to increase the value of your coaching time, if you go back to the original page, Alex, if you scroll down past the listings where you can go to the marketplace, there's also tips on coming prepared. I don't think we explicitly covered that, but it's also stuff to help you make sure you're maximizing your time and getting the questions you have answered, not just the questions you have while you're with us, but questions you have beforehand that you can think of beforehand. Because I know with me, it's very easy to know what you want to ask, and then you show up to where you need to ask it, and you're just like, oh, everything's great, thanks.
It's like when you talk to the doctor.
And the opportunity is gone, right?
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
How's it going?
So,
I'm good. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah, never been better.
So
super healthy.
Again, read these tips. If you're looking at coaching, not just for us, but for any coaching, it's a good thing to do because we want people to get their money's worth on whatever they're paying for. So,
yeah. All right, is that it? Does anybody else have anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, don't forget to keep your eyes out, guys, for Laser Master Academy events. This is huge. I want to see a lot more of you next week, especially those of you that are already paying for the LMA. It's like a no-brainer. Come hang out. It's super fun. Also, the coaching is up. If you're interested in that, there it is. You can find all of that at lasereverything.net. One more time before we go today, everything that we do here is thanks to our supporters over at the LMA. We would not exist in this capacity, or hardly at all, without them. Everything that we do is funded by them, and we're really, really grateful for that. So thank you if you're not already a member, and if you are, or thank you if you're already a member, and if you're not, you can find out more over at masters.lasereverything.net. Matt, Boyce, Kyle, thanks for being here with me today. Appreciate you guys. Grateful for your time. And if you're here live, thanks for hanging out. If you're listening after the fact, we still love you. Don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live. I think that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.